Well, welcome back, everyone. Welcome to another edition of our Crucible of War EV tracker and kind of a just way to check on the market and a market update. So before we get started, just a quick shout out to all the patrons. I'm at almost 50 patrons, which is just incredible. Thank you so much. And it's been so cool to hear all of your thoughts and your encouragement. And I've had even some people give me some feedback on the ways to make this better. So thank you guys for being there. I really, really appreciate you. If you want to check that out, head to the description, and it's just $3 and it gets you access to all this data as well as a collection tracker and an updated price sheet every week that you just copy and paste into the collection tracker, and you can track the value of your collection. So thank you so much to the patrons for that. I am probably going to go ahead and limit the patron at the current level as I'm trying to catch up and be able to communicate with everybody. It's just a lot more work than I thought it was going to be, but I love doing it. So I don't know what it will be after that kind of limit, but we'll kind of figure that out. So I think there's still like 25. There's plenty of slots left. It should last at least through the month. So anyway, thank you so much to the patrons for that. And then also thank you to Mitch over at the Midtown Merchant. Mitch and Andrew are just incredible people trying to lower the barrier for people to get into this game. So thank you so much for Midtown Merchant. They provide me with a lot of the data as well. And they're just a great group of people in the organization and a great organization in the community. And they're amazing people. So make sure you use your discount code there, JustLove10, to save some money on Midtown Merchant. And then additionally, I just wanted to say I did get cleared by TCG Player to be an affiliate for TCG Player. So if you're going to purchase cards already on TCG Player after you check out Midtown Merchant, make sure you use the code in my the description of my videos as well, and that gets me a kickback as well for TCG Player. So if you want to support the channel, go ahead and do that. Unfortunately, they don't give you a discount code for TCG Player, so make sure you shop at Midtown Merchant first. Their prices are probably already lower, and then you also get that discount code. So thank you guys for that, and without further ado, let's get into the EV of Crucible of War. So a crazy week this week. We saw the sealed product actually dip down quite a bit. And this is my opinion. I think that distributors still are getting product to stores. So let's pull up the actual sold listings. Distributors are still getting product to stores. Like my local LGS is small, and they got 2 boxes of Crew this week. So I don't know how many boxes bigger stores are getting, but what's happening is that these stores are then just putting them on eBay and cashing in on a huge return on their investment on Crew. So until we see the market run out, until we see distributors run out of sealed product, I think we'll still continue to see a decrease in Crucible of War sealed products, which is going to be very interesting when you see the EV at the end of this video, if you didn't already just see it. So let's get over to the Legendaries. The Legendaries are also dipping in value quite a bit. The Arknight Shard being the main culprit of that dip. And the Arknight Shard sold this week for $3,600. And not only did it sell on eBay for $3,600, but I saw plenty of them available on the on the Facebook Marketplace, the Facebook North America Facebook group. So this is kind of the current going rate for a Arknight Shard. And this is even a PSA 9 graded one too, which is kind of crazy that somebody sent it in, get graded, and then put it on the market for that low. So, well, it was bids, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, the overall prices, Cheyenne is also down quite a bit. The spring tunic, though, I think is starting to see a bounce back as the other tunic prices have continued to go up. So this is still like the lowest, I think, available tunic, and then people are also trying to complete their set for Crew. But the Twinning Blade Rainbow Foil, which I consider a legendary because it's so rare, is staying true to the 650. So it was all very interesting this week to see some of the things dip and other things stay the same or even increase. All in all, though, those big shooters in the Shard and Cheyenne dipping provided a minus 16% on the market. So let's get to the cold foils, which I thought were super interesting. The rare cold foils were actually moving up quite a bit, and there were so many sold. I think a lot of people are coming to the market after Christmas to recoup some Christmas money, but it seems like a lot of other people are coming to the market to pick up the rare cold foils, and maybe they had some Christmas money that they're like, oh, I can get a cold foil for under $100. Well, that's actually driven the price of these rare cold foils kind of into the $100 range and even a little bit above. Particularly Reaping Blade is above, and Talishar the Lost Prince is above. But almost all these cold foils are now selling at the average of $100. So it'll be very interesting to see how this lasts. I know I opened 21 boxes and I have a few extra of these. I have no intentions of selling, But I would say somebody else in my position might be like, oh, I have extras. I can get $100 for a card. We might see a retracement on this next week. But this week, we're up quite a bit, which I thought was really interesting. As we move to the Majestics, though, really interesting movement. Really, everything's averaging out right around that 325 round, other than the Courage and the Gambler's Glove. We're seeing Skullhorn dip down. We're seeing Crater Fist dip up. We're seeing Breeze Rider, no real change. Courage of Blade Holds kind of sticking at that 550 range. Visiortronic, which was a lower valued one, moving back up. Perch Grapplers moving back up. So kind of those lower tier ones are moving into the 350 range, and the ones that were above 350 are dropping into the 350 range. But the Gambler's Gloves and the Courage of Blade Hold are sticking with their higher values. So I thought that was super interesting. And, Courage of Blade Hold is probably the best card in the set, so that kind of makes sense to me. But I was also very interested that the Bloodsheath Skeleta didn't bounce back to kind of meeting the Courage, because it seems like this Bloodsheath Skeleta was also one of the more desired ones, but it's still at 365. So I thought that was very interesting. All in all, on the cold foils, we saw another 9% increase, about the same increase as we saw last week. And we still have a great trajectory there for the cold foils. Your average cold foil is sitting at around $209. So let's move over to the Majestic Rainbow foils. The market for this, it was up 14%, and very much driven by just a few cards. Most things stayed relatively the same, but the Twinning Blade Rainbow foil has increased quite a bit, and I don't understand that exactly. Back a month ago, this was actually one of the lower priced Majestics, so it's very interesting to see the Twinning Blade bouncing up and being one of the more higher tier rainbow foils. So I thought that was interesting. The Spoils of War, the other warrior Majestic, really coming kind of averaging out right where I thought 140 was really high a couple weeks ago, but it seems that I'm wrong, and that it's kind of holding this price tag, the highest Majestic. The other one that has moved up quite a bit is the Plasma Purifier, and you'll see a lot of the mechanologist cards are moving up as people start seeing that deck as performing so well. Dread Triptych moved up as well, quite a bit as well. Chain Lightning going down, Gates the Ages going down, and one of the things I missed last week was this Gorganian Tome. And I went ahead and fixed the price from last week so that we had an accurate data. But I missed this last week. I had this at 130, and that was wrong. But we saw an increase from this week to last week to 320. So all in all, 14% increase on the Rainbow Foil Majestics. And this is where things get really, really interesting, in my personal opinion. And again, I'm just sharing the stats right now. If you want more of my opinions, I share them in my If I Were Investing podcast on the Patreon. But right now, this is just interesting to me, is that the Majestic prices have increased 22% this week. And I'll kind of get more into my opinions about the Majestic prices in my podcast, but right now this is just the data. And, all of these equipments are sitting at above $60. And, we saw that happen a couple weeks ago, but then we saw these retracements back into Crater Fist, those kept popping on the market for lower. And, even the weeks that we saw some of these listings for 65, you could find some that were sold for lower than that. You had them sold at 65 as well, but they would pop up. And those ones that were popping up just aren't popping up anymore. And that's driving the value of these up even higher. We're seeing even the Metacarpus Node up $8. We're seeing Gambler's Glove up 14. We're seeing Visiortronic up about 7. Courage of Blade Hold is up 13. So those are really pushing the value of the Majestic non-foils. But again, like Plasma Purifier, a $45 non-foil card now. It's absolutely crazy to me. Perch Grapplers, another one that was sitting, it even dipped last week, and now you can't get one for under $70. So it's very interesting. I really thought that was going to be different, and I would have been wrong with that. All in all, 22% increase this week over last, and lots of sold data to back those up. The rare rainbow foils, we saw a dip. I think a lot of the reason for this is the heroes have kind of dropped down, particularly Casse. We had a sold listing for $150, and then we had a sold listing this week for $90. but some of these other ones are still holding their value. Data Doll, we had another sold listing at 40 this week. Kevdeen, another sold listing at 75 this week. Benji is actually moving up in value. So those are really driving the rainbow foil prices as people realize that, hey, if Crew is not reprinted, this might be one of the last chances to get those for a while. So very, very interesting. The other kind of playable cards are all in the $2 range. There are some that are spiking a little bit, but I think if you're patient, you're able to get them at the lower price. So just keep that in mind, that this is kind of the sold listings on TCG Player, most of these. So if you're in Facebook Marketplace, other places, you might be able to get some of this stuff cheaper. No real movement, though, in the kind of the 3 higher value rainbow foils that aren't the heroes. All in all, though, a minus 6%, and I think a lot of that is tied to Cat's Eye dropping in value. The rares, it's been interesting. I think one of the things that's happening, we saw a minus 23%. One of the things that's happening, I think, is that people are identifying that they can actually get some value for their bulk rares that used to be bulky. They used to be at the 30 cent range, and now you can kind of sell them. Redliner used to be 25 cents. Now you can sell it and get $2 out of it. So people are putting them on TCG Player, and they're getting some value out of their cards. And what happened is last week we saw a huge increase in that, and so we had more people enter the market for it, and now we have a decrease in that because more were available on the market. Did I show you I don't think I showed you the chart for the rainbow foil or the Majestic. If you're interested in the charts, there you go. All right, let's get over to the EV calc. So if you don't know this, your cold foil is 1 per box. Majestics per box is 7. Foil Majestic per box, you get 2. You get 41 rares, 5 foil rares, and 1/10 of a chance at a legendary. And this is where things are going to get very, very spicy for Crew, in my opinion, this week. Because right now, if you open 10 boxes of Crew, you will average $7,800 if you open 10 boxes. If you only open 1 box of Crew, your average value will be $623. And here's what's crazy to me, is that it's actually like the Majestics that are driving this price. If you open a box for $500 right now, in just Majestics, you're going to get $300 back, which is pretty strong. And then you get your cold foil. The lowest cold foil is $100, right? Like $80. So this price for the sealed product is in a really interesting position because more are entering the market, but it's almost like nobody's opening boxes because the singles prices are all increasing so much. Week over week, if you look at the average valuation, we're up 7% again this week, whereas the sealed boxes dropped 17%. So it's apparent that almost nobody is opening product, in my opinion. And so as a result, you're seeing the box EV rise because there's no product available. So I just thought it was really interesting. Right now, you can open a box and basically make $100, pretty much guaranteed. And even if you don't sell the rares, even if you don't sell the foil rare, and you don't get a legendary, you're still sitting at about your value. So if you need Crew products, my public opinion is to open boxes rather than buy singles, which I almost never say, unless you just need like 1 or 2 cards. But if you're doing a collection and you still have to finish, or you still want to finish a collection, I think it's actually wise potentially to open some boxes. You could get a card you want and then flip the cards on the open market and be able to break even. So that's just what I would do. Again, don't take my opinion as word, but very interesting to me to see that the average value right now is above the sealed market. And if you watch, anybody, what they'll say is those have to balance out eventually, right? You can't have a box that is worth less sealed than it is opened. Otherwise, everybody opens the boxes and it lowers the prices of singles. So what kind of is crazy, though, is to think, well, how many people just want to keep a first edition sealed box sealed so they're not opening, and then now we have what's happening. So I don't know what's going to happen. In my opinion, open the boxes unless you want to keep sealed. But if you're just like, if you have 3 boxes right now that you want to make profit off of, you could sell them for $500, or you could open them for an average of $623 each, not including if you hit a legendary. In my opinion, it's better to open it and sell the singles, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Just a reminder to make sure you're shopping at Midtown Merchant. Also, check out my TCG player code. And if you're interested in being a patron, you get access to all of this data, and as well As if you want to be in a higher tier, you get access to the podcast. I kind of share more of my opinions based on this data. So that's all that. I hope you have a great day. Remember to be kind to the people around you. And thank you so much for being here and watching the videos. If you end up opening some boxes, let me know what you think in the comments. Like, let me know how you do, because I would be super interested to see that. Potentially, I'll even open a box this week to test it out. I got to figure out if I can afford it myself. But let's hear your comments. If you've opened boxes this week, how did you do? And do you feel like you're hitting these values or not? So hope you have a great week. Thanks so much for being here.